you worked in law enforcement, you were at the Park Service, you were a lifeguard, I was like, nobody knows like all the things that I've done. All the crazy jobs
We
that
talked
I've had.
talked about you working in the laundry. Didn't you work for a dry cleaner or a laundry
I did
service?
work at a laundromat. We talked about that?
We did. We
Yeah.
talked about the fact that you worked for Vermont Teddy Bear.
Ooh.
And, of course, that I am the authority on whether pleated shorts are cool or not, and they're definitely not.
Because you have a degree in fashion and
merchandise,
design.
I worked in
or fashion and merchandise.
men's clothing for... I didn't wear men's clothing for 11 years. I worked in men's clothing for 9 years.
You worked in them?
My dad used to say, Amy's in men's pants. He used to like to say that.
What
She's
was
in
the
men's
purpose
pants.
Of what?
pleated pants ever? Not a purpose, but
Maybe we'll have to do a history lesson on pleated
Pleated
pants.
pants.
I did a history lesson on the sports jacket.
Yeah, we did.
And
That
the
was when we had
evolution.
Fancy Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I got dressed up for Fancy Friday. I
put
put a
on-
tie and a sport coat on, but I wore my camo hat and I had a camouflaged handkerchief. And everybody
Okay.
was giving me grief. But I said, listen, the sport coat was
Yeah.
designed for sport, for hunting. So technically, the camo hat does go with my sport jacket. I won that debate.
Yes.
In my mind, I
Technically.
won that debate.
technically.
All right, we have people logging on. Your best friend, your bestie, Nicole Vickers-Matz is saying hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Nicole.
She's
Chris
here for
Golden is
moral
here.
support.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Chris Golden
Mom is here.
is my lovely
Cheers,
girlfriend. Chris
All right,
is the, what do we call her? We called her the
Right, the
financial advisor.
liaison.
Yeah, the financial
I gotta get my-
liaison.
I gotta
Due
get
to
my
her
background.
vast experience in counting and business management.
She's
Mayor-
been traveling a lot.
That's her thing,
I
is to
know.
travel around
I'm
and see new
jealous.
places and everything.
Yeah.
Go down to Louisiana and Georgia and Arizona, wherever else she's been. I was, not that I was scared, but I do not want to be on a plane in the middle of a pandemic.
But the planes are pretty safe. The airplane itself, as far as the air quality.
Okay. You're still smushed into that
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and you still have to
You
get
see
through
me,
the.
right? You see me. I don't fit in a little aluminum tube very well. And I always get seated next to two guys who are at least the same size as me, if not bigger.
Right.
Like every time
That's
without
fantastic.
fail.
All right. Is this your mom,
Hey.
Muriel?
Oh, Lordy. Yes. Hi, Mom.
She's here. Hi. All the moms are here.
Everybody's mom's
Hi,
on.
moms.
I don't know if Judy Green's
I don't
on.
see Judy Green, and I don't see Gail, but my mom is here. Cheers.
Somehow Judy Green lost Facebook on her phone.
Oh, that's easy enough to replace.
Yeah, and then she got Facebook and somehow mistakenly started a whole new account for herself, which had to then be canceled. It's kind of been crazy trying to help my mom with
All right.
Facebook.
Well, hopefully she can get it back.
But I also want to remind people that if you want to, you can also watch the show on YouTube
Oh,
at
yeah, of
Porchcast
course.
Pottstown.
You can go over to YouTube. If we do have some new folks watching, we would love for you to subscribe to our page,
Yes.
Porchcast Pottstown. It's very easy to find.
There's 2 people now watching on
Yeah,
YouTube.
Why can't I get there?
See, we made that happen.
Ooh.
There we go.
Jennifer Ann is tuning in. Jennifer Ann is the insurance assistant and social media coordinator at Glocker Realty and Insurance.
So she's very important.
She is. She's
Yeah.
important to our operation.
Yes.
She gets all of our shows, the cast at Glocker. She does all the pre- and post-show communication to get all that stuff set up. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it
a lot
is.
of work. I would actually like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Matt Green, because you do all of that stuff for Porchcast.
I do.
I just slide in at
Some-
the last
no,
minute.
every now and then.
I send the thank you notes.
You do. Amy sends the thank you notes. Amy sells more merch than I do, too. She's a better merch
That's my
salesman.
sales. That's my
Okay.
sales background.
I just have
Well,
the
you're a
catchy
salesman,
phrase,
too.
bringing you the merch. But I think I'm much better at selling houses than I am at T-shirts.
All right, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the fashion merchandising major, so.
Right. Looks like your mom's tuned in with Eddie. Is that her dog? No. Her cat?
No, that's her boyfriend.
Oh, her boyfriend. Well, her dog.
Yeah, whatever you want to call No, he's a really great guy.
Okay.
Honestly.
Thanks for
All right.
tuning in,
Thanks for
Eddie and
tuning in,
Muriel. Nice to see some new faces on the show.
All right,
Thank you
so
for
we've been
tuning in.
bantering around for a little bit, which is good because it gets everybody warmed up.
You
but
haven't introduced our
I
guest.
have not.
Right.
And I feel like because she's a regular watcher of the show, it's just like she
I'm
knows
just
what's
here.
going on.
Right.
Yeah. Lauren LeCount
That's-
McClosky.
Yep.
And Lauren's with Patriot Environmental Management, which is an environmental firm here located in Lower Pottsgrove, correct?
Yeah.
So you're Grovers.
Grovers.
19464
Yes.
Lower
Is
Is that the
Pottsgrove.
Toga? Is that Sanatoga?
Yeah.
It is.
It
Yeah.
does come up as Sanatoga as well, but Pottstown mailing
Pottstown.
address. Yes.
Right. And then you're also with the Rotary.
Yes.
And then you're also an ambassador with the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And that's where you and I first met,
Yes. Yep.
going to different trainings and get-togethers through the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
That's how I first started talking to you.
And then everybody just knows you, so.
Right. And one thing leads to another, and now
Right.
everybody knows me.
Yep.
All right, so here's what's going on. You have a couple of things to talk about, but first and foremost, I got the impression that you really wanted to talk about Earth Day, right? First?
Earth Day. Don't treat dirt like dirt.
I would say Earth Day and Patriot. It just so happened that this coincided
It
with
did.
that.
It
So
was not planned, but it did work out.
Very
No.
serendipitous.
And I did tell my boss I was going to do it this day, and he goes, "Oh, well, that's Earth Day," and I said, "Well, that's perfect."
Yeah,
So yeah, it just it all worked out. The stars aligned.
right on. So get into it.
Well, I'm going to try not to read because he told me not to read.
Okay.
But
You're going to read a little bit.
a little bit.
Okay.
I did get a lot of my information from earthday.org, but I'm just going to give a small little bit that in 1969, there was United States Senator Gaylord Nelson. He also convinced a Republican Congressman, Pete McClosky, to basically organize like these on-campus teach-ins regarding the environment. They chose April 22nd, and so on that day in 1970, they had the first Earth Day.
Okay.
Basically, 20 million Americans took to streets, parks, auditoriums to demonstrate against the impacts of 150 years of industrial development, which had left a growing legacy of serious human health impact. So that was,
Sure.
Their goal was educating, everybody. And then one of the important things is that by the end of 1970, the first Earth Day led to the creation of the EPA
Okay.
Okay.
and the passage of other
I did
environmental
not know
acts.
that. So this is our history lesson for today
Excellent.
as well.
I love it. I didn't realize that the EPA didn't exist before that.
There's a Philadelphia connection to Earth Day too, isn't there? Wasn't one of the activists that got it started from Philadelphia or something like this? Maybe.
I'm not sure
Sure.
about that. They did have a young activist named Dennis Hayes, but I'm not sure where he's from.
Okay. So this all started in 69.
Well,
And then-
69 the idea, but the first Earth Day was
in
19.
1970.
So this is last year was the 50th year. So,
Right.
and then in 1990 Earth Day went global.
Okay. How did it go global? Like, was it a UN type situation?
I'm
See,
not
I'm putting
sure
you on
about,
the spot.
I'm not sure about that Earth Day.
Just mess
I mean,
some
I
shit
think
up. We don't care.
I'm not positive,
Gotcha.
to be honest with you. And that's why I'm going to say for anybody who really wants a lot of information, where I got it from was earthday.org.
We'll put that link up in the comments.
Earthday.org?
And then
Or
somebody can click-
Earthday.org.
I
Yeah,
will
click
do
over
it right
to it.
now.
Yep. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know everything because I went on yesterday and took a look, but there's so much information, news, all of their events.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of now do an Earth Week
Okay.
this week.
Just 1 week for the Earth.
Just 1
Yeah.
week for
Yeah.
the Earth. Every day should be for the Earth.
It
We
should
really-
be. Absolutely.
It's crazy to me that, like, and listen, not that there's anything wrong with it, but, like, everybody's all into this stuff that's going on to Mars. And, we've got all these billionaires, Elon Musk and stuff, spending billions of dollars trying to blast off into outer space. Meanwhile, I can think of a couple of things that we could probably spend $1 billion on here on
Yeah,
Earth.
meanwhile,
that
this
might make
planet
it-
hates us.
Yes.
Right?
I just don't know if our priorities are straight. I wonder about that sometimes.
I think I've learned over the past, few years, and as I get older, that everybody has their different priorities. What's important to you might not be as important to me.
Right.
Well, and there's certainly things that come out of the space program and NASA
Yes.
that are then used
sure.
for technologies here on Earth,
right.
GPS and things like that, and cell phones and things that have developed out of the technology or
Velcro.
That we've learned. What's that?
Velcro.
Right.
But we surely need to take care of the planet that we live on, so it's here for future generations.
Right.
Preach.
Right?
Right. So is now a time? Can I give my tips?
Yes.
Yeah, do your eco
All right.
tip.
So I didn't give an eco tip last time, but a mere 10 feet behind where you guys are sitting is my composter.
Yes.
Right. So composting food waste and food scraps in landfills is a huge contributor to methane gas,
Right.
which is a huge contributor to the depletion of the ozone layer.
Okay.
Right? So there are places in California, for example, and other areas that have curbside composting. So like we have here in Pottstown, we have a trash bin, we have a recycling bin, and those places also have a compost bin where you can put your food scraps and food waste and yard waste.
That's interesting.
So we don't have that here in Pottstown, but even if you have a very small yard, you can get a backyard composter, which is what we have. So we collect our food scraps and we put them in the composter. I don't have a garden, so I don't have any place to put my compost. I just dump it back in the bushes once
Yeah.
it's done composting. But for a couple of $100s, you can buy one of these composters, or you can make your own compost pile if you don't mind having food scraps like out in the open. I wouldn't recommend it
No.
for a yard like this, but you can buy one of these backyard composters, and if you use Pottstown's recycling program to its fullest, and we have the most comprehensive recycling program in the country, it's a pilot program, we can compost more than any other place in the country, recycle. So between the recycling and the composting, we make our
Less
household
waste.
of 2 people, we make about like one thing like this of trash. That's
Okay.
what goes in the trash. It's about this much.
Yeah.
Like 2 gallons.
Like a shopping bag.
Like one of those shopping bags that you get from the Giant. If you're not using recycling shopping bags.
Gotcha.
So it's a really easy thing to do that it can really help to reduce the methane gas that's in the landfills, which is a big contributor to the depletion of the ozone. So I'm not like Miss Eco, like crazy, earthy, crunchy, but this is
Right.
something that I enjoy doing, is reducing the amount of waste that we send to the landfill.
I try as much as possible too. Like I try to recycle as much as I possibly can. And then we have we have the same composter that you have.
So this is a round one that's got 2 sides on it. You put your current scraps on one side while the other side is cooking.
Yes.
And after 6 weeks or so, the compost in the cooked side is ready to put into your garden or your shrubs
Yeah.
or whatever, and then you switch the sides.
And it's black, so you put it out in the sun, and that helps the cooking process.
Yes, it sure does.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
but you got to make sure that you put enough brown materials in there, or it gets really stinky.
Yeah, there's a balance. There's a balance that you have to have between the green, the brown, and then sometimes there was a couple of times last summer when I actually had to water my composter.
Really?
You had to add a little bit of water because if it got too dried out, it doesn't
Yeah.
cook right.
Yep.
It needs that heat in order to break down the organic material that's in there that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't
In the
think I even
wintertime, it can
spend-
get frozen in there. You got to make sure that you turn it pretty regularly.
I don't think I even spend $100 on ours. I got it at like Home Depot or one of the big box
Yeah,
stores.
whatever it was. Maybe it was that. I mean, there's
I
all
wanna say it
sorts
was
of
like
different.
$59.95.
There's all sorts
or
of different
something.
levels. If you would like to shop local, I'm sure that you can go up to the Tractor Supply. If you don't want to support a quote big box, I mean, Tractor Supply is
They're
kind of
a
a
big
big box,
box.
but
They're reasonable.
Yeah.
I bet you some of the nurseries around here have them.
right.
Yeah. So,
So,
that's your eco tip of
That's
the
my
day.
eco tip. But in addition to recycling and reusing, the first the first line of defense, if you will, in being eco-friendly is to reduce, right? So you reduce your usage.
Yeah.
We have tried to reduce our consumption of plastics.
Yes.
So single-use things, like we used to buy like little fruit cups and olives. Like we like the olives in the single-use, so we put those on our salad.
Yeah.
We stopped buying those.
Uh-huh.
We started buying things in cans where we can. So we'll buy cans and bottles before we'll buy plastic.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I recently switched to...
How do you feel about this? I'm just asking. you.
Okay.
All right. You're the eco tip lady.
I'm not, yeah,
on
and
the
I'm
show.
not. I don't profess to be any sort of
I know.
expert, folks. I'm just trying. I'm just one like consumer trying to do her
I'm
best.
just running this by you.
Okay.
I like to buy. Now, everybody's going to get on me because it's not earth friendly, right? Well, the carbon footprint. Blah, blah,
Right.
blah. When I buy meat, I buy a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And then I vacuum seal it.
Mm-hmm.
But the vacuum seal bags are made out of plastic.
But you can recycle those in Pottstown's Recycling.
Yes.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
can wash those out and dry them and put them in Pottstown's
in.
Recycling.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
Right.
So you buy
Nobody's
it,
on you
or-
now.
and
Yeah.
also, Matt, if you're
Well,
buying
I
it,
eat. They're on me for that.
no, if you're buying one big, so say you're buying like 5 pounds of ground beef at one time.
Yeah.
Right, and it's on a styrofoam tray wrapped with saran.
Yeah.
That's less styrofoam tray and plastic wrap than if you bought 5 individuals.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? So
yeah.
so there's
That's
that.
how I kind of
Yeah.
feel about it. Like
Yeah.
when, the last time I bought a steak, I got the whole thing.
Right.
Imagine if I would have bought all of those
Individually,
separately.
right?
Yeah,
so,
would
so
have had
there's
much
that.
more
And then
stuff.
all of that stuff is recyclable through Pottstown. You just have to, like always have plastic film drying all over my house, all over the kitchen. So my newest thing that I decided to do was buy these laundry detergent strips, if you will. So this
Yeah.
is a laundry soap.
Yeah.
Right, and one sheet goes in a load. It is perforated, so if you have a smaller load of laundry, you can rip it in half.
Where do you
Just-
buy them?
I got these online. This is.
Does Amazon deliver them?
I didn't get it from Amazon. I did
Because
not.
like now I start to question
Sorry,
how
Bezos. I
eco-friendly
did
it
not
is.
buy this from
If
Amazon.
it's being delivered by a diesel-powered
Yeah.
truck.
There are tons of them available through Amazon, but this one I got directly from the directly from the seller. This is Well Earth Goods, little family-owned company. It equates to about 50 cents per sheet.
Okay.
I don't know how that compares to a big tub of laundry detergent.
Yeah.
We're 2 people. We don't do that much laundry.
Right.
I do 2 loads of laundry a week.
How
That's
does it work on stuff that's like really dirty? Like I get dirty,
I don't know.
and my
I don't do
son's
that
a
much
mechanic.
stuff.
So like
So-
we've got dirty, greasy stuff.
Okay, well,
I'm just curious.
you take this one and try it out.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we don't really do that much dirty stuff.
All right.
So-
Yeah. See, that's my question.
Yeah, but it came
Not that I'm
in
against
it. came
it.
in a paper envelope, which I
Yeah.
can then recycle, and I supported a little family-owned business. It came with a little handwritten note, nice and
Oh
cute,
wow.
right?
That's cool.
Amy, thank you for supporting our small family business and reducing plastic waste. So that was nice. And there's a million of these different products out there that you can get from different places. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. It didn't leave any white streaks on my dark clothes, so that's a bonus. And along with laundry detergent, there's toothpaste and shampoo and things that you can get in bars and non-plastic containers. So these are just little ways that you can help to reduce.
I just put the name
And
of
I
that
just-
company up in the thing, and then I'm also thanking the people that are watching on YouTube.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so that's the end of my, here, I'll put the link for the ones that I bought.
So
There we
let's
go.
get back into
Yeah, okay.
Let's
Lauren,
get
back
back
to you.
into Patriot. So you told us before the show that you have a degree in geology.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Which I think is an exceptional thing to major in. From what I've heard, everybody that's ever been a geology major has gotten really good jobs in very diverse industries.
yes.
It wasn't my intention when I went to college. I'll tell
No?
you that. No.
And what I was going to ask, did your love for the environment lead you to geology, or did geology lead you to your love for the environment? Like, which came first?
I would say geology, my job, because when I went to college, my intention was to study psychology and sociology.
Okay.
And I had to take a freshman environmental science course.
Yeah.
And we had some field trips, and it appealed to me because I was able to see what I was learning in the classroom, and I've always been an outside, type of person. So I said, okay, I think I'm going to major in geology, and I think my mom and dad were kind of like, okay. I don't think they knew.
Right.
Well, okay. So I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. And fortunately, I got a job before I graduated with a consulting firm in New Jersey. And my first project that I worked on was a refinery in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. So if anybody knows.
Yes, I've been to Perth Amboy.
Wow.
It is so scenic.
Yes. Lovely, beautiful, bucolic even.
It is.
I mean,
It is one of the ugliest places on.
So I definitely didn't see myself every day on a refinery. Like I said, hard hat, steel toe boots, no
Right.
mixed fireproof suit, whether it was -2 or 100 degrees, we were out in the field every single day. And that's where I learned, all of my field work, how to understand regulations, apply that. And I think just seeing that gave me a better understanding of, our past. And I don't think there are people that maliciously want to contaminate the earth. I mean, I don't think most people want to do
Yeah,
that.
I would say
Okay,
that. That's
I don't
better.
think most-
Because
Yeah.
there are some people out there that
Just
do some
don't care.
crazy,
They're
crappy
right.
stuff.
They don't necessarily care about the byproduct of what they're doing.
No, it's all for the
It's all
dollar.
for the mighty dollar. Right.
Right. But I think years ago people didn't quite understand the consequences. But, manufacturers, if there's an oil spill, I think a lot of people think, oh, I can't see it. It's not there. Obviously, that's not
Right.
not true. But having a better understanding of that, I think, just made me a little more conscious of. Let me come up with what I'm trying to think of. Just a little more conscious of things that we do in our businesses affect the environment.
Right, right.
And so it's really interesting to me now. Like I said, I don't do as much of the technical work, but I understand all of the projects that we're working on. And we actually do some different things than what I did in my first job.
Okay.
So that's been, a learning experience for me as well.
So what do you do over there at Patriot Environmental Management?
We do a whole host of things, and you'll probably do you sell commercial properties
Yes,
as well
I
as
do.
okay.
So I know about phase 1 and phase 2 studies and all that kind of stuff, but the people watching don't.
They don't.
Tell us all about a boring study.
Well, when banks loan on a property, they require, especially commercial property, they require a phase 1 environmental site assessment, and so that involves us doing a site visit, speaking to owners, whoever's leasing the property. We do file reviews at the township, at the DEP, to assess any environmental liability. Sometimes that parlays into soil and groundwater sampling if we find any environmental concerns, so that we can ascertain the extent of that. And so sometimes people will still buy the property if we can say to them, well, it'll cost about this much to clean it up. And so it still might be of benefit to them to purchase the
Right.
property.
The biggest problem I've had on commercial property sales is buried tanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the historic presence of buried
Yes.
tanks.
Well, that could also be in residential. I mean, not around
Correct.
here,
Yeah,
not
but
in
see,
Pottstown, but
residential transfers don't require that same type of study. There's
No.
very few times on a residential mortgage where the mortgage lender is saying we need to do an environmental test on this property before we'll lend on it. But
Okay.
on commercial properties, in most cases, the majority of them, the lender is saying to the borrower,
we're not going to give you the money unless you do
unless
Correct.
you do it.
Okay.
You have to do it as part of your due diligence.
that. Right.
And in the cases that I've been involved in, sometimes they find that there has been buried tanks, and then you pick it up from there.
Well, just to touch on the residential, the bank doesn't require it, But I'm noticing that someone purchasing a property may not want to buy that if they don't know how long the tank's been there, if the tank is leaking. So a lot of times, and more often now, I'm seeing that will be removed before.
Yeah, so it's one of the things, like, for instance, if I'm doing a residential property and somebody has an old oil tank in their basement, I'm trying to encourage them to get rid of that ahead of time before the sale.
Right.
Well,
Just
that's
get rid
the
of it.
above ground storage tank. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about underground
Yeah,
storage
I
tanks.
know.
But yeah, let me touch
they're
on
more,
the
they're more common on rural properties.
Yes.
For residential.
Yeah.
The
I
buried
think my
tanks are more
parents
common.
had to take a tank out at the house I grew up in Connecticut. I think they had to take their tank out and remediate some of the soil there.
My parents did as well.
Yeah, Susie Kennedy is saying that was her area of expertise. Lust, leaking underground storage tanks.
All right, Susie.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Susie.
She's our literary
She says that
liaison.
she's also a fellow geologist.
Oh,
Yeah.
see that?
So when somebody's buying a commercial property,
Yes.
they can reach out to you at Patriot Environmental Services, and you can perform those phase ones. And then if the phase one will determine whether you have to proceed to phase two or not.
Right. Normally, it's the bank that comes to us. We work with a lot of local banks. However, we do have, private investors that are looking at properties, and they'll come to us. And, the person that wants to buy the property, if they see that there are all these issues, they can then walk away. So it protects, it protects the buyer, it protects the bank. And that's why we have these private investors that come to us, because we can tell them, okay, the property will be worth this much.
Right.
You're going to get it for this much. It's only going to be this much to clean it up. So it's still a good deal for you. So it's, like I said, it's up to the buyer. And sometimes if the seller really needs to get rid of the property, they'll agree with the buyer to put money into escrow for that cleanup. So that kind of works out. We've had that happen to us in the past as well. We've had projects like that we've been working on.
Okay.
And
Those are bigger. Are those bigger projects mostly?
Yes.
Because on the ones,
Yeah.
I don't like putting money in escrow because it's something that has to occur after settlement.
yes,
And that's when you run into problems. On the smaller commercial properties that I've worked on,
Yes.
we try to get it all wrapped up
Yes, I mean,
prior to
that's-
settlement.
Right.
that's the easier way.
Yeah, the easiest way. It takes a little bit longer, and sometimes people get antsy, but it really is the better way to try to wrap it up before you settle on the property.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the case of the escrow, my boss, Hudson Green, has really good relationships with the DEP. And so they make sure to sit down, with the property owner, with the seller, and really work it out so that it doesn't become, that hassle that you think
Yeah.
is. And like I said, we've had a project that's about close to finishing up, and it's been really smooth. But because everybody worked together.
Right. Now, so in addition to that kind of stuff, what other kind of environmentals do you do, like testing or sampling for industry, things of that nature, or are you just purely doing like this type of phase one, phase two? Do you guys get into like mold testing? And
No,
things
we
of that
don't
nature?
do mold and asbestos. That's not something we do. We do a lot of work for oil companies, like you were saying, in the above ground storage tanks in basements. Sometimes people will remove their tank and they won't let the heating oil company know that they did that.
Oh, right. And then somebody's pumping
Oh.
500 gallons of heating
I've heard
fuel.
Of
those
heating
stories
oil.
before.
Yes.
And then goes straight into the basement.
So
Yeah.
we come and we clean that up.
Okay.
And we do the underground storage tank removal, like you discussed. We also do groundwater resource development for chicken and hog farms out in Pennsylvania.
Chicken farms.
Yes.
Huh.
So that.
So somebody who wants to put a chicken coop
Yeah.
in their backyard.
well, this is a large.
I know. I'm just making.
Large,
I'm just
large.
making
We
a
can
joke.
come-
Yeah.
Because
It's a
chickens
hot
are such a hot
topic.
topic
They
in
just
Pottstown
had the
right now.
ordinance review meeting yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, Nicole Matz with her chickens too. You know, she's got chickens.
Yeah, well, she's in the she's
in
a
the grove.
Grover,
Yeah.
so she doesn't have to worry about
okay.
it.
Yeah.
This is the borough of Pottstown
Okay.
where all this chicken controversy
Yes,
is going on.
lots of chicken controversy.
So you're into what? Testing the wastewater?
No, we
Or-
actually develop the wells. We find the groundwater for
Okay.
the chickens and the hogs. Yeah.
Okay,
So
to supply them.
to supply them, yes.
I
So that's
gotcha.
a project that we actually worked on a lot in the past year, during COVID. So we were essential, but a lot of our projects were out in the field, by ourselves. So we're not really around, anybody anyway.
Right.
So we fortunately, we're okay over the past year. We're very blessed.
Nicole is saying that her chickens are in jail. What? Oh, they disrupted some mulch placement. They were pecking and scratching in areas where they weren't supposed to be. Well, I figured since she lost the one chicken, they might not be on free range anyway, because
They might
you
be
know,
like, do they
there's
have like
predators out
do they
there.
have like little
Tracking collars?
little collars, like a dog, like an invisible fence that a dog has? Can you chip?
That
Can
might
you
slow
chip
'em
your
down,
chicken?
though. That might slow them down. They might not be able to run away from the fox
Right?
if they got that
If they got the
collar
collar
on.
on, right?
All right, we've lost control. So-
We're not anti-chicken here, folks.
No.
No.
Not whatsoever.
So long story short, and since this is kind of a real estate related show, since I'm a real estate agent, if you're looking for some of these environmental services that Lauren just talked about, give Patriot a call. They can help you out. It's certainly, they are now in my Rolodex the next time that I have to come up with some of this stuff. What was interesting case that I was involved in was that there was some missing documentation on these buried tanks. At one point in time, the state experienced a fire in one of their offices, the DEP. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of these files that were destroyed in a fire. Well, guess what? The property I was selling was affected by this.
Was one of those.
So we actually had to go back.
Did you have to recreate it?
Yeah, they had to go back. We had to hire an environmental agency, management agency, much like Patriot. Unfortunately, I did not know you at the time.
Well, now you do.
And they basically had to recreate this documentation that the tanks had been removed and closed out properly.
How did they do that?
With a lot of research. They were able
I
to
thought you were
figure
going to
it
say
out.
with a lot and a lot of money.
Well, it did cost some
Yeah.
money, but through some research some processes that I am completely not aware of, there was some file or some numbers that were attached to the files that existed
Okay.
that through their research demonstrated that the tanks had been closed out properly. Yeah,
I mean, were
That's
they able to maybe the township?
I have no idea.
We also, well, you can also do ground penetrating radar to get an idea if there is still something in the ground. We've done that as well.
Yes, and so for instance, we didn't have to
Right,
get
so
to
you don't
that
have to
level.
dig it up,
We didn't
you
have
can-
to go to that level.
Right. Okay.
They did some probing,
Yeah.
but they
yep.
did not do the ground penetrating radar.
Radar, okay.
And then, like I said, they found some files
Okay.
that the way the files were coded, so
Okay.
to speak, demonstrated that they already
were
would have
gone.
had to been processed through a removal,
Okay.
even though the files that proved the removal were gone. The coding on the files that did exist proved that they had moved to that
There
next
must have been
level.
really
Gotcha.
old files that they
Yeah.
didn't have them
It was from
on,
the
like,
80s.
okay, I was
It's
going to
from
say,
the
they didn't have them
80s.
saved to the cloud.
Nah,
Yeah. Now.
they were gone.
I mean,
Poof.
we still go there and look through the
Look through
files.
a
and-
manual
and-
search.
and make our copies. To
Yeah, I
bring them
remember
home.
talking to the guy from the DEP and
Yeah.
and also from the environmental service. He was like, "Yeah, we went to an office someplace and opened up a filing cabinet and searched as best
Right.
we could by hand." So anyway,
So is that the with properties like old gas stations? Like I'm thinking of the one at the corner of Mervine and Charlotte, right?
Yes.
Is that what the holdup is with selling that? Is that there's underground tanks that need to be removed?
no,
Is that
there's contamination there that nobody wants to take responsibility
it's got to get
for.
remediated, right?
Mhm.
And what would
Yes.
that even take? You dig out all the
Who
dirt.
knows?
No, it depends. They'd have to do some soil sampling, groundwater sampling. I'm pretty sure there are wells there, so they can do some groundwater sampling there to see, the extent of it. Maybe punch some more holes. But I don't know if the tanks are still there or not.
I don't
I mean,
either.
that looks to me like it would be a pretty prime real estate property there, right?
It was, and for instance, when that whole corner was redeveloped, the reason that is so much higher
Yeah.
than the rest of that elevation is because they didn't want to touch the soils there. Because once you dig into the soils, then you're responsible for disturbing that.
Right.
So that corner has not been developed because, like I said, nobody wants to take responsibility for it. It's very similar to the situation at the entrance to the shopping center in North Coventry, where the
Sure,
North
that was
Coventry
also a
Giant
Citgo
was.
station, I think, right?
That was Davis Brothers, and I think they might have both been Davis Brothers stations at one
Right.
time. Well, everybody knows what happened to the Davis Brothers Oil Company.
I
The
don't know
one
what
brother
happened.
was ripping people off.
Oh.
There was a good brother and a bad brother. Good brother ripped off a lot of people and wound up getting himself in a lot of trouble. The company went, and so now there's nobody really to take responsibility there.
Right.
That Davis Brothers place was torn down by some private action. Otherwise, that would have just sat there just like the other one.
Right. So there's just the one in North Coventry now is just like a slab,
And that's all it's going to be
which
until
looks better than
again,
an abandoned old
Right.
Citgo station from the 70s.
And it's all it's going to be until somebody takes responsibility for
Right.
it.
Somebody
which-
got to have some deep pockets.
that thing, the one up in the north end that we're talking about, has been empty as long as I can remember.
I don't think it's ever been there, like
It
since I've been
shut
here,
down
24 years.
right when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So sometime in the late 80s or early 90s. It's been that long
Right.
since that place is
Yeah,
closed
I've
down.
never known it to be existing as a gas station.
Right.
So, right, well, there's a do-good project for somebody that's got a lot of money.
Well, and think about that. This is just 2 sites in this small area. How
Yeah.
many of those exist out there?
Right,
yeah,
across
there's
the
other-
across the whole United
Yep.
States.
Chicken jail.
So,
I'm still in this chicken jail.
if we can help clean up one site at a time, that's one more that's taken care of,
That
yeah.
can be redeveloped
Yep.
and become a producing property.
Exactly.
A benefit to the neighborhood instead of a detraction.
Right.
All right, so we've covered that. Let's talk about, what do you want to talk about next?
You've
You
got
want to
all
talk about
sorts of
Rotary?
extracurriculars. You've
We
got,
talk about Rotary, I think,
All the
on
time.
every single episode.
We're the
because there's-
unofficial communication branch for the Rotary.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Rotarians that watch
Yeah.
our show.
A lot.
So it's great. We'll take whatever
You're
viewership
an
we can
honorary
get.
member.
Honorary. Great.
Look at
Awesome.
that.
Yay. So what do you want? You
No.
want to talk about that, or do you
Aren't
want
we
to talk
going to
about
go?
the chamber?
Aren't we going to a Rotary meeting?
We are going to Rotary.
When is that?
We got
Hold on, I got it on my
it's in the
calendar.
beginning of June,
Yeah.
or is it the beginning of May?
I'm on the programs committee. I should know that.
When are we
We
going?
better check our. Hold on.
We've been invited
No,
to
I-
speak at Rotary
Oh,
about
June
Porchcast.
2nd. June
Huh?
2nd.
June 2nd.
Okay.
We're going to Rotary.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I've been a member for a little over 5 years. I was telling you before, Brooke Martin was the one that sucked me in. She's our current president.
okay.
And like I said, it's been about 5 years, and I wasn't sure what to expect at first. I always say, okay, I'll give it a try. And I think it's one of the most rewarding organizations that I belong to. Such a large group of selfless people, and it's just some amazing people. Like I said, Nicole, I mean, I wouldn't have met her if it wasn't for Rotary, and she's such an amazing friend. So,
Right.
And she'll be our next president
Yep.
starting
Okay.
in July.
So when did? Oh, July. Okay.
July.
And then at some point in time, you're going to become the president of this. I love how they know how far in advance they're all
Well,
going to be
first of all, it's
president.
easy to rope people in when you got a 1-year term, right? You're
Yeah,
barely
yes.
coming up to speed, and then it's time for
So
the new
when are
person
you
to come
going to
in.
be president?
July 2023. So it'll be Nicole, then Tyler
Then-
Goffus, and then myself.
And then you.
Oh, okay.
So I have
great.
2 years to stress because
But I think that's great that they have people lined up like that.
yeah,
A lot
it
of
is.
organizations are begging and pleading for people to be officers, and
Yes.
you already have 3 people lined up: Nicole, and then Tyler, and then you.
Yeah, it gives me a chance to
Nicole,
work.
why are you crying? She's making a crying
She's-
face.
Nicole is going to be amazing. I don't know how well you know her, but she's an incredible woman.
we talk to Nicole on a pretty regular
I don't know
basis.
Nicole very, very well, but I know her well enough to know that I think she's really a beautiful person and very
yes.
kind and selfless.
Yes,
That's
Yes.
what
I would
know.
agree with that.
Yeah.
And like wants to be involved and is involved.
She
Yeah,
cares.
it's genuine.
Yeah. I mean, most of my interaction with Nicole has been business related, but yes, and Nicole and I traded.
egg
we
fish
have
barter.
we have an egg for fish barter going
Okay.
on. I trade trout for eggs.
What's a good deal?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And I'm going fishing tomorrow, so Nicole, there might be some fish showing up at your house. Anyway, so
You got to get enough fish for my trout soup.
yeah, I'm working
I
on
know
that.
you
That
are.
project's
I really
underway.
appreciate it because that soup is delicious.
Here's what I'm saying, though. We were talking about this before the show, and I think it would be worth your while to mention, is that the Rotary's changing, too, right? And I've been trying to dispel a couple of myths, but it's good to have a Rotary person dispel some of these myths.
Rotarian.
A Rotarian. Yeah, Rotarian. Forgot that word. One, you do not have to be a business owner in
No.
order to be
Oh, no.
a Rotarian,
No.
right?
Is that what people think?
There are some people out there that think that in order
Yes.
to be a Rotarian, you have to own a business.
No, you do not. No.
Okay.
Anybody can join. Anybody.
Right. Anybody.
Yes.
And then here's another one. The Rotarian is just a bunch of old white guys who own businesses hanging out at the country club.
That was when I talked to Brooke at first, that's what I said to her. Isn't it, and she said, no, it's not. And, she's young and happening and hip, but
Yeah.
no, it's not like that at all. I would actually say, I think I was looking at the numbers, the statistics, and 40-ish is the average
Okay.
now. But
So that's young.
Young,
Come
so
on.
young.
but you know what, though? But
Yes.
some of the Rotarians that have been there, 30, 40, 50 years, are so wise.
Right.
Yeah, they're
and
mentors, right?
And
To-
they've given so many years of their life to service.
Right.
Gosh, I can think of a handful of them that I just respect so much.
Sure.
Dick Franz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
a
mean,
good
he's
dude.
incredible. Mike McCarthy.
Mhm.
There's just so many people that we can learn from.
Right.
Right. So, and you need that institutional knowledge in
Sure.
order for the program or the
Yes.
club to continue, right?
Yes.
You have to have the old, but it's not all old guys, right?
No, it's not.
And
It's-
obviously there's women involved,
yes.
right?
Oh,
Nicole
yeah.
says you got to be fun and service-minded.
Yes.
So listen, in 4 years, you're going to have, over the course of 4 years, you're going to have 3 women presidents.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yep.
And then I saw the other day you guys are teaming up with some other organizations. You're inviting other organizations to your meeting
Oh,
so
yeah.
that people can learn about them.
Right.
Oh
That's
yes,
great.
we just a couple weeks ago we had the NAACP.
Yep.
We have the chamber coming. We have Strive coming.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had Mosaic Land Trusts in the past. I think we're learning that instead of working as separate entities, that if we work together and support
Yeah.
each other,
Singing our song, we talk
Yeah.
about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
nobody
Right.
needs to reinvent the wheel. There's, work together and it makes it easier and you get twice as much done.
yeah, many hands,
Yeah.
make small work. It's you'd rather have, if you have 20 tasks, if you
Right.
have all these people doing that rather than just these couple people doing all these tasks. And plus you're not burning out people as
Sure.
well,
Right.
And
I think, too, the other part of it, too, in a community like Pottstown, although there are a lot of active people, the pool of people is sometimes shallow. I noticed that, for instance, I can go to a morning meeting, let's say at Hobart's Run, the
Right.
community leaders breakfast at Hobart's Run, and I see 6, 7, 8 people that I know. Then at lunchtime, I go to the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce for the Refresh Friday training, or whatever they're calling it now.
Right.
And it's 8 people that I saw in the morning.
right.
Yes.
And then in the evening, I go to
Like
the
a business card
business-to-business
exchange,
meeting
yeah.
at the Rotary, and there's those 8 people that I had
Yeah.
breakfast and lunch with. So I think it's good to, the point of what I'm trying to say is, I think it's good that people are teaming up.
Uh-oh, Matt, our camera
Yeah,
died.
our camera died.
Yeah.
I think it's good that people are teaming up because it allows those organizations to team together, like you're saying,
Yes.
a lot of hands on one job rather than each one working in their own silo, pulling from basically the same crowd of engaged
Yep.
people. Does that make sense?
And I think that's one of our major goals in Rotary is to get more people involved, so everybody doesn't feel so tasked with so much.
Right.
I think back to a couple of weekends ago where we went and did our Adopt a Highway project, and you go out there and you just it can be overwhelming, the amount of trash. And I think we were out there for about 2 hours. And the whole time I was just like, if somebody came out for an hour each day, a bunch of different people,
Yes.
or just it would be cleaned up so quickly.
Right, and we talk about that too, like, especially with trash cleanup, which seems to be a really hot topic right now in Pottstown. The trash seems to be worse than ever for whatever reason. And if people just take their own block and spend 5 minutes a day or a half an hour a week to clean up their own block, it really makes a big difference. Make sure your trash can is closed and make sure your trash is bagged up. Those easy things, so it doesn't take a lot. It just needs to be consistent.
That's right.
And I have a lot of fun at our Rotary events. I think that's also why I like it. We're doing good, but I'm also having a lot of fun.
Well, that makes it so much easier to do good when you're hanging out with people that you like and you're having a good time. And there's beer.
And there's beer.
Yes.
So I was just going to say, like, I've probably been at this point in time, either through being invited by different Rotarians or going to speak. I was invited to speak at a Rotary meeting because I had done some work with the Pottstown CTE program in rehabilitating a house over on 900 North Franklin Street. And myself and the kids from CTE were invited to talk at the Rotary meeting. My point is, in those 5-6 times I've been to Rotary meetings, I've always found it interesting. I've learned something new each time, and it's not boring or stuffy. You have some, like Amy's saying, you have some beers.
Right.
The food that I've had at every meeting it's been good food. It's a nice meal. I always make sure I sit next to Bill Brogley if there's meatloaf or something because he won't eat it.
I love
And so you get
Brookside's
double
meatloaf.
dose of
I get a
meatloaf?
double dose of meatloaf because William Paul Brogley won't eat his.
Oh, I love Brookside's meatloaf is the
It's
bomb.
good.
It's
Okay,
so
meatloaf
good.
is one of my favorite foods of all time.
And theirs is pretty
Like,
good.
Really.
So-
Their dinners are great. That's
And
also
they're-
what I love
they're
about
very
our Wednesday
generous,
meeting.
too.
Right.
Their portions are really
And
generous.
if you're invited to participate,
As a guest?
guess how much that costs you?
0.0?
Free. Free.
Yeah.
So connect with Lauren or connect with Nicole if you want to go and attend
Yeah.
a Rotary meeting. If you want
If
to
you
learn
don't know how to
more-
connect with them, connect with us, and we will put you in touch.
Well,
We're
you can see
all
our
on
Rotary
Facebook.
Facebook page.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually
or
I
message
just
me through Patriot.
I put the link to the Pottstown Rotary Club website in the chat. So if anybody's interested, you can just click on that or go to the Pottstown Rotary Club Facebook page and connect there. Yeah, and I will say I'm gonna put my plug in for Pottstown Go Forth. So Pottstown Go Forth is working with Rotary as we have in the past for the 4th of July. Rotary will be presenting the parade on the 4th of July, and we are presenting the street festival and the fireworks. And we are combining our fundraising efforts. It's been a little confusing in the past. Rotary's been doing their own fundraising for the parade. We've been doing our fundraising for the festival. So we're doing all of the fundraising, so all the funds, so people don't feel like there's different organizations going in their pockets looking for donations.
I gotcha.
So we will, so whatever you donated last year, or the year before, donate twice as much, and then we'll make sure that the Rotary gets their portion to cover the parade.
I see some
Okay.
people that are coming in the show. I can see that you're coming in.
Yes.
And I just want to let everybody know that for some reason our camera battery died early.
Yeah.
It should have been fully charged, but something died out.
Well, it's no fun unless there's a challenge.
You won't see us, but you can certainly hear us. We're also monitoring the comments on Facebook, Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate, and on YouTube, Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube. If you have a question or you want to participate in the comments section, it is open to you to do that. I also want to encourage new watchers, if you like our message, if you like what we're talking about, if you want to spread the good positive word about what's going on in Pottstown, make sure that you hit that share button.
Yeah.
Share the stream to your news feed or your group. At the very least, hit the like button that you like us and say hi in the comments. The more interaction with the show, the more Facebook will show what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, please do, for anyone new that's watching or listening, please go over to YouTube and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, won't spam you. I just put the link in the chat there to our YouTube channel. We just are looking to we've got 78 subscribers. We're looking to get to 100. So we'd appreciate
Just
it
for the
if you
hell
just-
of it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. Are we ready for some news?
Yeah, well, I think the one last thing that we got to talk about for a couple of minutes,
Yeah.
just for a couple,
Sure.
is that Lauren's also involved with the Chamber
Oh,
of
yeah,
Commerce,
for
and
sure.
that she is an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce. So if you want to give that a couple of minutes, we can cover all three of your talking points.
All right. I am. I've been an ambassador for, I guess, a little over 2 years now. And you were talking about seeing the same people over and over again. The one thing that's been really great is the way that the chamber has adjusted. They've pivoted and through COVID, and so we've had a lot of Zoom meetings. And I was telling you about the Reach group, which is the women's group. We have a coffee chat every other Tuesday, and I've been able to meet a lot of new people. I'm not seeing, like you said, the same people. I mean, now every Tuesday we are, but I met so many people that I wouldn't, have met at some of the in-person events.
Right.
Some incredible women.
I would say this, too, that maybe some of the stay-at-home order and some of the shutdown and people working from home, it's now enabled them to participate in a way that they weren't
Absolutely.
participating
Yeah.
before. So maybe that's causing the change in some of the faces that you're
It's a
seeing.
lot. It's much less of a time commitment when you're taking part in a Zoom meeting, right?
Right.
So you don't have to drive to the event and whatever. So I think it's easier for people to participate just right from their office.
Yeah, and they've also been doing, little networking Zooms. So,
Right.
Anybody can participate in that as well. They've enhanced your business listing. I don't know if you're listed. You can go on. You
we're
can add.
listed. Yes, we're listed as Glocker Realty Insurance.
So they've, they've enhanced them now, and you can add a lot more information. You can
Right.
add pictures. So I just did that recently. They've really just ramped it up over this past year, and they have so much to offer the businesses. So, you can reach out to me about that as well, or reach out to the chamber.
Lauren about Reach.
Yes.
Reach to Reach.
Well
Reach.
done. Well done.
No, but yeah, I think I'm fortunate to be involved in the community with my business, with Rotary, with the chamber, and blessed to have met some really amazing people. And hoping that I meet, more as the years go on.
Yeah. I have gotten a lot out of our Chamber of Commerce membership at Glocker Realty Insurance. I participated in a lot of the training over the years, and I was part of a networking group there that was really kind of like a problem-solving roundtable rather than a networking group.
Yeah.
A networking group kind of underplays what it actually was. But I got a lot of benefit out of that. And then just some of what used to be the business card exchanges and stuff. I was going to those on a regular basis. And yes, you did see a lot of the same faces, but it was a good way to connect.
Yeah.
And I think for the money that we spend on it every year, we
Oh
certainly
yeah, it's totally worth it.
we
Oh,
certainly
yeah.
get back out of that. You know what I mean? Some of those training classes, if I had to pay for that individually, it would have cost me a couple $100, if not more.
Oh, absolutely.
And with our membership, I'm able to go anytime it applies to me.
Right.
And I would say this too, they are doing a lot of things to get professional women involved. They have reach, there's training that's specifically targeted towards women in the workplace and everything else. So
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And personally, I've used the businesses. You know, are you familiar with Amy's Upcycles?
Yes. I've sat next to her in a couple of trainings.
She's a great woman, and she's done at least 5 pieces for me. I rescue things from the trash and say, what can
is that
you
what
do
you
with
call
it?
it?
Yeah.
Well, that's very eco-friendly, though,
It
Lauren.
is.
Right?
It is.
Well,
It stops it from
reuse-
going to the landfill.
I had to
Yeah.
stop rescuing animals. So
So now you rescue furniture.
Now
Yeah,
I
the
rescue-
furniture doesn't eat anything, and you don't have to clean up after it, right?
and Amy makes them beautiful. So
Yeah, she does. She does a good job.
she's great.
So I
Cool.
guess what we're trying to do is encourage people to either look into getting involved in the Rotary and or looking to get involved with the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Both of those places are very easy to find. You either go on Facebook or you go on Google and you type in Pottstown Rotary Club, or you type in Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. It'll come up.
Yep. It's easy to find.
It's easy to find.
Yes.
All right, Amy, you ready for some news
I
and
am.
updates?
I am.
Lay it on us, sister.
All right. My dad wants us to know that they only buy their booze in glass. Their wine and their beef eater, only in glass. Very
So
eco-friendly.
that they c-
Thanks for thinking of the
No
earth,
boxed
Dad.
wine.
Well, the boxed wine. So here in Pottstown,
Oh, I guess
the cardboard's recyclable, and that inside plastic
The
bag would be
foil?
recyclable.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there you go. But glass is ultimately better. All right. I have a lot of stuff here. Okay.
there's
our-
so much going on.
I know. Our
People
friends
better
at
pay
Art
attention. Get your
Fusion-
pen and paper out, folks.
Yeah. Our friends at Art Fusion are doing a Mother's Day event, Art Together.
Oh, I saw this. Yes.
And this is on Sunday, May 2nd from 1 to 3 for a fun virtual event. No experience required. Each participant will create a beautiful mixed media heart, watercolors, and then accent designs with a glass faux mosaic heart. They do recommend this project for kids 8 and up because they're working with cut glass pieces. So that is a virtual event, and their virtual stuff. I did a virtual event with them last year. It's really great. You pick up the kit and then you do it together via Zoom or by video. So that is sponsored by Pottstown Hospital and Houken Goffis Funeral Home. Speaking of Tyler Goffis, so thank you to them for sponsoring that. Tickets are $20. But they are also giving away a free ticket to the Art Together event. So if you know a mom who deserves a special treat, you can nominate her to win a free ticket to the Art Together event. Winners will receive 1 free ticket for the online event on Sunday, May 2nd, and all supplies are included. So be sure to tag your nominee and let us know why you think they are amazing. So if you go to the Art Fusion Facebook page and look for their post about the Mother's Day giveaway, you can comment there and nominate a mom. So
I could even make it easier for you than that.
right, and
it's
super
posted
fun.
to Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate on Facebook, so you can
Yeah.
go and nominate your mom as soon as the show's over.
Yes.
Just stay on my Facebook page. It's right at the top because I posted it yesterday.
Nice.
And nom your mom.
Yeah, I can't even stop talking enough about Art Fusion. I love it.
That
I
kinda
signed up
sounds
for a
funny, doesn't it?
5-week course to make a mosaic table there in May.
Lauren's
Really.
reminding herself that she has a gift card to
Well,
there.
when they had the 422 events where you purchase all the gift cards.
Oh, yeah.
I purchased one, last June? So now I have that too.
Oh, well, you should use it.
Nice.
Yes. Okay,
Get your
Pottstown.
son to nominate you.
Yes.
Have that kid do something for you for once.
For
He's
once.
an amazing son. He does a lot for me.
Good. All right, school district, Pottstown School District parents, pony up. Time for you to get involved. If you would like to participate in the district's comprehensive planning process, please direct message Stephen Rodriguez, Superintendent of Schools.
Do
on
it.
Facebook. If you don't know how to get in touch with Mr. Rodriguez, please let us know. We will get you in touch, but here is your chance to participate and to shape your child's future in the school district.
He said point blank on the post, private message me
Yeah.
on Facebook.
If you are interested,
if you're
please
interested.
direct message Stephen Rodriguez as soon as possible. It's a 3-day commitment, but you get coffee, lunch, and snacks. COVID safe.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the food, I guarantee they're going to have the kids from the CTE make
Yep.
the food from culinary.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, the food that those kids make
There
is
you go.
banging.
Sign up. This weekend starts the Mosaic Community Land Trust Garden Tours. Go to their page to buy tickets. $20 in advance if you would like to go on all 3 tour dates, April 24th, July 10th, and September 18th. It's $50 for the combo ticket, and if you would like a tour ticket plus lunch at Gracie's, it's $50 per person. Tips and alcohol not included. Gracie's is a treat. Delicious food there at Gracie's. David Charles of the Strive Initiative will be the special guest at the Rotary Club on Wednesday, May 5th. Get in touch with any of our fine Rotarian friends if you would like to be invited to that as a guest.
And once again, that invitation is how much? How many dollars is that going to cost them, Lauren, to attend?
0.
0.0.
And you get dinner.
And you get dinner.
I mean-
Maybe it'll be meatloaf.
Yeah.
I'm in. All right, Pottstown Community Action Open House Monday, May 3rd at the Barth Garden, the garden at Barth Elementary School, one of my favorite places. That is Wednesday, May 3rd.
That's Pottstown Community Action.
At 6 p.m., Pottstown Community Action, our friend Tamara Charles. May 1st, what's not happening May 1st? Mayfair,
Oh, my God.
powwow,
Yes.
car show,
Gala.
gala, which is the
Godspell.
Godspell at the high school. There are still some tickets left. I think today was the last day to get tickets. So
Yeah.
if you're still looking for tickets, reach out to Joe Rusevich and see if there is still anything available.
That's all in one day.
One
But
day.
I don't remember what the hours for the gala was. But we know for a fact that the powwow starts at 10.
Shite. I don't know where my
The powwow starts at 10.
I don't know where my gala information
I
is.
think the Mayfair starts someplace at around that same
Oh,
time.
11
but goes
o'clock.
throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then the car show starts
Evening.
at 5.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could powwow, Mayfair, car show, and only have to walk a distance of about 3 or 4 blocks.
Right.
So you could come to Pottstown, park your car
You'd be like
once,
Bugs Bunny running all the bases.
park your car once, and then walk to all 4 of those events. And then if you got hungry, thirsty, tired, otherwise, most of the restaurants are going to be open on High Street.
Right.
You can have a
You
full
might even be able to
day of
sneak.
activity.
You might even be able to sneak in around a mini golf.
You might, yes.
All right, I would like to give
Jesus.
a.
There's no
I would-
reason to
I
be
would like to
bored
give
in
a
Pottstown.
Porchcast T-shirt to the person who sends us a picture of whoever's of them doing the most stuff on May 1st.
All right.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you
that would
send
be
us,
great.
whoever sends us the most pictures, like take pictures of you doing all this stuff. If you've been to whoever has the most, who did the most stuff on May 1st gets a T-shirt.
All right.
All right.
Yep. We're putting that out there.
All right.
So don't forget to take your pictures of all your events.
Joe
that
says
you're
it's
doing.
no longer a gala; it's a special event.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I just like the way he says gala. I always called it a gala.
Me too.
Yeah.
But he's a yinzer.
He
what
is
does
a
he know?
yinzer.
A
All right.
yinzer
What's
from
a-
Western
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Western Pennsylvania.
You know they say yins instead of use.
So the very, I'll just I'll interject
yins,
this.
use, y'all.
All means the same thing.
Y'all all mean the same thing.
The first time I ever heard yins,
I've never heard yin.
You've never heard
Oh,
yins?
I'm a Jersey girl.
We
so,
were,
you
So
know,
you probably say use.
use.
we
Yeah.
were at a restaurant in Pittsburgh, and the waitress came over and said, "Can I get yins anything else?" I looked at her like she had 8 heads. I was like, "What? What?"
It's English, but it's another language.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
See,
I
you
have the
learned
Philly accent. Water.
Water.
Oh.
Water.
You say it the right way.
Water.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know that, but if you're outside,
I know that people don't know what the
No, no, they're
No,
like,
hey,
"What?"
there's a new show on HBO called Mayor of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet, and it takes place in Delco. And they had voice coaches on the set to teach people
Yeah.
how to speak like Delco. Yeah.
I read an article today too that you know what the other thing they were doing? They were taking surveillance videos from Wawa and then looking at what people were wearing in Wawa in order to do the costuming for the show.
Yeah.
Their
Nice.
costumer literally went to Wawa and
Like-
got pictures of Wawa shoppers.
Got the
so that they
typical
could,
Delco outfit.
So
Yes.
basically pajamas.
well,
maybe
Yeah.
there might be some people walking around in pajama pants. I
All
saw
right.
a lot of flannel and like Carhartt jackets.
Joe's
and
yins
stuff.
or thin skin is getting offended over there.
Oh, okay.
We're just teasing you, Joe. We know we love you.
I love Yinzers. I don't have anything against them.
All right, a couple more things. This weekend, spring craft show at the Alley, Sunday,
Yeah.
from 10 to 3.
Don't forget to do that. A lot of those
Yeah.
crafters that are participating in that were also crafters that were at Edgewood Cemetery.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that I saw after the Edgewood Cemetery art show and cleanup was there was still a whole lot of people that didn't know that that was going on. So remember, if you see these events coming up in your news feed or you're hearing us talk about them on Porchcast, go and share those
Yeah.
events
It-
out to your news feeds
Even
and
if
group.
you just click interested,
Yes.
that will show up for other people. They'll say, "Oh, Amy Wolf is interested in the spring craft show," and then they'll go and look at it
Yes.
and
Help share the
help
word.
share it out. And a lot of these crafters really were out of business for a year because there was not really any events happening. So
Right.
a lot of their income was really affected because they weren't able to sell their goods.
Right.
for the last
Because they're
year.
doing them at art shows and
Yep.
craft fairs and farmers markets, and all of that stuff was impacted.
Right.
So help support them by sharing the word.
Yep.
That's really what we want to try to encourage on this show. Share the word so that more and more people find out all the great stuff that's
Yep.
happening.
This weekend, there is a walk-in, no appointment necessary COVID vaccine clinic at the Ricketts Center from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Walk-in, no appointment necessary. I believe they are giving the Pfizer. Yeah, Pfizer. If you have questions, you can call 484-644-3120. But walk in, no appointment necessary. Be like, I think
That's
I'm
at
going
the
to get a vaccine
center?
today. And there's vaccine clinics happening all over the place.
I think I'm gonna. I say this every episode, but you got to give me that information. Make sure you share that information with me.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Right, I'm handing the paper out to Matt right here.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it. All right.
Go get it done.
I will get her done.
Get her done.
Yeah. And finally, there is a birth certificate and ID
Birth.
clinic sponsored by Legal Aid of Southeastern PA and Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services. If you need an ID or you need a copy of your birth certificate or you know somebody that does, please go to montcopa.org and find out the information on this virtual clinic. It is on Friday, April 30th from 12 to 2. You must pre-register. So go to the Montco PA website and pre-register. And if you have had trouble getting your birth certificate or you know somebody that needs it in order to get ID, that's how to do it.
Right.
Yep.
Because people are now going to say, well, if they don't have their ID, they probably don't have a way to register. So if you know that person, help them out.
Yeah, help them out. Help a brother and sister out.
And it's always great to have a couple copies of your birth certificate.
Yes.
You need it for a passport. Like you said, you need it for ID. I just always have a couple copies laying around.
Right. The problem is a lot of people don't even know how to access that information.
Yeah.
So they're walking people through the process of getting their identification
Yep.
established after they've lost it for one reason or another.
Right. Yep. All right, that's what I got.
Is that what we got?
That's what we got.
We
6:08. I have dinner reservations at 6:30. So
All right, so let's get you out of here. Lauren McClosky, Patriot Environmental Management. She's also with the Pottstown Rotary, the 2023 president,
Elect, yeah.
Elect?
2023.
and she's also an ambassador for the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Lauren, thanks for coming in
Thank
on
you.
this glorious Earth Day to talk to us. We appreciate it. If you liked what Lauren said and want to connect with her, reach out to her on Facebook. She's pretty easy to find.
I'm a friend
And
request
she's in
you
a
right
lot
now.
of places.
All right.
The other thing, too, is if you'd like to be on the show to talk about your business and your involvement in the community, all you have to do is ask.
Yins
We'll
know
get you
how
on
to
the
get to
show.
us. Yep.
How did you get on the show, Lauren?
I asked. I just wanted to be one of the cool kids.
You always have been. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I don't know. Is this the prerequisite for being a cool kid, being on this show?
It is now.
Yee.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It
It's
was
been
great.
awesome.
No problem. I am Matt Green. I am your local real estate expert. Please call me when you need help selling and buying residential and commercial real estate. I work in Pottstown and all the surrounding communities. Please give me a call. I want to help you. Amy Wolf is the host of Porchcast Pottstown. She's also the office manager at Wolf Baldwin and Associates, bringing you fine legal service in the borough of Pottstown since 1973. Do you want to give a shout out to your reservation? Where are you going tonight?
To the Blue Elephant.
She'll be down at the Blue Elephant enjoying some Asian fusion food.
Yes.
We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.